Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blind Intelligence. I'm your host, Miss Ronnie, and I always seek to give you a exquisite cranial repertoire. This week, our special guest is Francis Smith. Say hello to everyone.
Hi guys, what's good?
Well, what we're gonna do, we're doing fine. Thank you for coming. But what we're gonna do is let you take over and tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, it's nice to be here. First things foremost, thank you very much for inviting me. My name
Welcome.
is. Well, thank you. My name is Francis Smith. I'm 23. I started making music around the age of 18 to 19 years old. It kind of started out when I was uh, maybe 10 years old, getting into art. It started off with me drawing and making fun little doodles that I guess scared all the other kids because I like to make scary horror related animations and art. I've always been very intrigued by it. And
Hmm.
then, sure enough, it transitioned into me writing. I've always loved writing more than I did reading. So I'd be writing fictional stories, self-help books, but I didn't really find that much of a place in it. And then eventually, later on into my teen years, I started venturing more into sounds, and loved it because it was kind of like a tool I can use to communicate whatever I'm feeling. Thing that at the time anyway, I was a lot more shy and introverted, and I didn't really
Hmm.
know how to communicate how I felt at the time. So what better way to do that in a song that everybody can enjoy? So that's what kind of got me into music. Eventually, I started working with other people, trying to get a team in order to make something that I knew would sound good. And thankfully, here I am now.
Okay. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
With you saying that you have been in music since the age of, well, I know you said 10, but performing, I guess, since 17 and you're only 23. So that's only like 6 years that you have been in actual music. I have came across some artists who recently started music and decided that they wanted to be in the industry and all these different things and found at the wrong time that they were not able to perform live. How
Uh,
do you know that you are ready for the music industry? Because in order to make money, part of that is going to have to be some type of live performance. So, how do you know that you are ready?
Honestly, I feel as though anybody can do it as long as they're confident in their sound and they are able to um, either use their voice as well as an instrument, or come up with some kind of band or something of that like. But for me anyway, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm no longer all that shy singing around people, even if it's a big audience. So it's really just polishing up my craft and going from there. There's plenty of places I'd love to perform, whether it's a small crowd or a bigger one. Namely in the Sacramento area. I think that'd be hella sick. But yeah, I think as far as me being prepared, I need to learn, some more tricks on the piano, and from there I'm confident that I'd be able to give a performance that can blow the socks off people, I guess.
Okay. So, you talked about crowd size. And the reason why I asked you about that, because I work with an artist and uh, that's all I got to say. And he had an anxiety attack and could not perform.
All right.
So that's the reason why I asked that question. How do you know you're ready? Because a lot of people that I interview says they use music as an outlet. And if you're using music as an outlet and not going in as I'm going to be a professional musician,
Yeah.
then how do you know that you're ready for the industry? But you talked about crowd size. And so this is just something that I'm asking. Do you think as an artist starting out is easier to perform for a smaller crowd or for a larger crowd?
That's a good question. I mean, personally, like if there's a larger crowd, I would assume there's more adrenaline there. So you're really giving it your all. But when it comes to singing, if you're not confident in it, then that will most definitely hinder your performance, because like like having confidence in your voice, it actually shows. It makes a noticeable difference between being nervous. When you're nervous, you have a very airy, more more kind of like distraught or wiggly voice, for lack of a better term. But I mean, either way, like either way, like you got to find your experience somehow. Whether it's just in front of one person in a bedroom, or you're singing to your coworkers or friend, or if you're going out on bigger stages with full crowd of people. It's a growing process. It's something that people naturally fold into rather than it being all at once per se.
Well, I asked that because I think that if I had to put myself in the place of an artist, I think that I would rather perform for a larger crowd because it's like, oh, that's the crowd. Not that I have to make actual eye contact if it's small,
Yeah.
if it's smaller. So I think that more intimate settings, you have to be more, I would say, emotional with the audience. Whereas if it's a larger crowd, you're actually just performing. I think it's more work to perform for a smaller crowd. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
So I
that's
just
a
wanted to
really
know.
good that's a really good point. I can't lie, because if there's just like one person kind of just like eyeing you while you're doing your thing, it's like, okay, that person right there doesn't matter about anything else right now. That person right there is my audience, and I got to make sure they like it, or maybe not. Maybe you're more laid back and you're like, okay, I'll just do my thing, and if they don't like it, it's all good. But yeah, I feel like as far as the whole crowd, there's a whole lot of pressure because it's like, okay, you're finally there, you're finally achieving some semblance of your dream. What am I gonna do about it? Whereas if it's just like one or two persons, um, I mean, for me anyway, it's more give or take. Like, okay, I mean, this could be argued as either a warm up, or it could be, a nice start to a really nice beginning, I guess.
So my next question is singles versus EP versus album.
Mm.
Which do you feel presents an artist more as a professional? Because these days, a lot of artists are popping out these singles. And second part to the question, do you think singles give you a bigger chance of being a one hit wonder?
I love these questions you're asking me. Okay. Quite frankly, I think I'm more than ready to be a part of that 100%. I feel like for any EP, any album, I got a vision that is ready for the charts or for a Grammy. At least eternally speaking. Like, I know I got potential. Now it's just ready to prove it. So for me, if I were to make an EP, I'd want every song to come off as though it's a single that I know people can listen to, whether it be an audience for something more contemporary, indie pop, or just straight pop or something like that. Uh, I know that, quite frankly, they all have their own story and they all have their own potential. But what's funny is it still matches perfectly together, in my opinion.
So, what do you think about, and I ask this question all the time, do you think it's beneficial, and what do you think about artists putting out singles, releasing singles? Because I've had artists tell me that they will release a single every week. So, if you are supposed to submit to Spotify for a curator's list at least 2 weeks before the song is released, how are you moving your career forward if you're releasing a single every week? And how are you doing your promotion for that single? And if you're not doing any promotion for the single, why are you doing a single? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's this thing about like for instance in my hometown there's like a whole lot of different like bookshops, and there's these incredibly made, well put together books, but they're not seen by anybody, because it's just, it's distributed in a location where not a lot of people would check it out, or it's just buried between all these other books. And that's kind of how I saw it with music, where I would make a really nice song, or just a song in general, and I would constantly make another song and try and get a hook on the algorithm, but it would never work. And that's when I found out, okay, I mean, there's a lot at play to it, don't get me wrong, but my goal is just to wait on any schedule or any timeline as far as release dates until I know I have something that is good and that people would actually want to listen to. And so far it's working out really nice, in my opinion.
Okay. So tell me about your latest project.
Okay. My latest project is a single called Robin Blue. I figured I'd experiment with my sound with something a little bit more old school, but still current to our times. I always loved the softer, pretty aesthetic, lo-fi, and I wanted to communicate that in such a way that was unique to me. And I feel like I finally was able to channel that through the song. What's kind of funny is I had a cold when singing it, but I feel like it kind of added to the track. Yeah, like it had this raspiness, and now my voice is just naturally like it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's run with this, But I think the first song that I was really proud of was Why Won't You Die? I think that.
Wait a minute, tell me about this.
Okay. Well, Why Won't You Die? It's basically talking about having feelings for someone, and that person may or may not feel the same way. So you're asking those feelings, why won't you just die? Like, why can't I get over that person? And I figured.
Well, I'm a little different.
Oh yeah.
If I want you, and you don't want me, then I don't want you no more.
Respect to that. I mean, shoot, I wish I was the same way.
Hey, that's the way I am. Hey, I can be in love, but you can do something. I can fall out of love. I can fall out. So you don't want me? Oh, okay. Well, you made me think a little different. I don't want you either.
Yeah, I mean, respect to that. That's a really good mentality to have. It's always important to have like self-love over someone else's love when they won't like do that properly. So like,
wait, I gotta tell this story. One time I had a cousin, and I don't know if her boyfriend was just trying to be honest or what, and he was like, I love you so much, but I can't stop cheating on you. She looked at him and she said, well, F you then. It's over. Yes. No, we got to feel the same way about each other.
That's a good point. I mean, shoot. There are some crazy people in this world, I gotta say.
You're not gonna talk to me like that and tell me that and think that I'm gonna want you after that. No, I feel a little different now. I don't think I want to talk to you. No, forget my number. We could be smoking the wind. We don't have to talk anymore. I don't feel the same. If you telling me you don't love me the way that I love you, then let me pull some of that back down.
That's actually a really good point, I gotta say. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like the hard lines of like someone like not loving you but you love them, it's really weird for me because usually like there's this gray area where they first start off liking you and you start off liking them, and then it stays for a bit, but then they kind of get distant. And then you're like wondering why that is, and there's no closure there. So you keep chasing after it because you like that feeling of happiness that you get when you're with that person. But ultimately,
I'm gonna say, in Beyonce words, you must not know about me I can find another you in a minute. Matter of fact, you'll be
Hey,
here in a minute.
exactly. Yeah, I love that so much. Man, that's a refreshing outlook. I gotta stick to something more like that.
Look, I'm not gonna want my feelings to die. No, I want to continue to have love for other people, people who's gonna
Mm.
appreciate it. If you're not gonna appreciate it, then you don't deserve it. That's not gonna mean that I'm not gonna stop loving. I'm just gonna give
Right.
my love somewhere else. And
Yeah.
you can go kick rocks on down the street on Pat and Ben.
Hell to the yeah with
If y'all
that. I
know who
mean,
Pat and Ben
respect.
is, that's on your feet and your knees. Bye bye. See you later.
Yeah. Man, I love that mentality so much. No, again, it's always more important to have self love over love with someone else that they don't deserve same love,
Look,
in my
I
opinion.
have this saying. I am not gonna kiss your ass to get along with your face.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, respect to that. Like kissing ass, it's it's a very real thing. But like, I respect like the refreshing outlook of telling it how it is.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
it's
very truthful. But I tell people I appear to be a little rough, but I'm
yeah.
actually a pineapple. I might be rough on the outside, but I'm very sweet on the inside.
I feel that. I love pineapples. Pineapples are especially in people, like at first when you meet them, they're telling you how it is, and you're like, oh, what did I do something wrong? But then you're like, oh shoot, this person actually cares. That other person, they're just pandering. It's like a sneaker bar. They're hella sweet, but they're still bad for you. Whereas with you, it's like, yeah, like it's tough, but at the same time, it's like it's with good intentions.
Yeah,
It's
I
and
always
how
have
they
good
all look.
intentions. I
Yeah.
try to help people, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm gonna let you finish telling your take on why won't you die.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much it. It's basically begging the question. Okay, so I have these feelings, and they're really very much so there for this person. But that person, within the story, they moved on. So I'm like, okay, why won't you die feelings. I wanted a sinister twist to it because I'm a hopeless romantic at heart, but at the same time, there's just so many love songs out there. So I wanted to do something a little bit more different in that regard. But what's
Okay.
funny about it is the song is still very soft, still very pretty, very indie-like in nature. It's the typical love song, but it has like I guess scary or twisted lyrics, and that's kind of what I like about the style there. Very Billie Eilish oriented in some respects, but still to my own vision.
Okay. Before we go, I want you to tell me something unique that people will find in your music when they listen.
Okay, something unique.
Besides
Um,
being gothic, you say you have like a little gothic twist. Besides that, what would be like your signature sound? Like I know that's Francis Smith. I know it.
okay, I mean, apart from being gothic, I'd say I like to I like to take very soft and pretty sounds and I mix it with something very grudge and very heavy. I disguise
Describe grudge.
a grudge. I mean, well, I don't know. There's a lot of things, but I should rephrase it and say a little bit more edgy. I guess dark, for lack of a better term. But uh, in retrospect, what I really like with my sound, or what I strive for anyway, is something that's more soft, something more delicate, more sensual, but with a darker underlying meaning behind it, or something a little bit more retrospective rather than it just being you know, oh, I love you, you got pretty eyes and all that other shit in between. Like, no, like
Oh,
I want
oh,
yeah, no, like I want something a little bit more I guess grounded in reality with my stuff because it is supposed to communicate my life and my experiences and how that would relate to other people.
well, I thank him for coming. because we lost him right there, but we're going to keep on rolling anyway. But you can find him. I will have a link in the description where you can find his music and his latest single and his social media links. And you can find us streaming live on all social media platforms, on all podcasting platforms, and on www.blonde-intelligence.com. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Hey girl, let me tell you about this podcast.
Girl, everybody has a podcast these days.
But this one interviews new and interesting indie artists. It's called Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blonde Intelligence.
Really? Where can I find it?
It's on all podcasting platforms, streams live on social media, and on rpentradio.com.
What'd you say it was called again?
It's called Indie Artist Music Hustle with Blonde Intelligence.
Girl, I'm gonna have to check her out.
Give it a chance.